Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. No other historical figure in India has been as hated and as debated in recent times. To be fair, the entire debate over Savarkar, the much maligned freedom fighter, has been thrown open like never before, which is not a bad thing. In a true democracy, people are not told what to think. They are debated and argued with if one wants to change their mind. But the vice-like grip on Indian history by leftists has been such that till recently one couldn't even mention Savarkar, let alone hail him. And in many things, that stranglehold is loosening. And thus, more and more people in India are emboldened to hail Savarkar, the man who spent 14 rigorous years in Kalapani jail under the British. And the fact that a lot of misconceptions or the blacks and whites about Savarkar are merging into greys, some are extremely nervous. To the extent that recently clashes broke out over a Savarkar poster. And one Hindu man was even stabbed by some Muslim men just because he happened to be around that chaos. Surely, no amount of objection to Savarkar can justify this. And is the objection to Savarkar itself becoming a pantomime of left Islamo-hysteria that seeks to cancel or completely cut out some that they don't like? Is this objection not becoming stale? Which historical figure, for example, even including Mahatma Gandhi, has not been criticized or opposed during their time by their peers and beyond? Which figure is holier than thou? None. Why this hatred for Savarkar alone then? We will take that to our guests in just a bit. But first up, here's what happened today. Former Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah faced backlash today after his car was gherao in Kodagu, where he was there to take stock of the flood situation, and BJP youth workers threw Savarkar's photo into his car. They also put up social media posters saying, "Go back Siddu Khan." Now they brandished black flags, they chanted Savarkar over Tipu. Now remember, this is coming days after Siddaramaiah had asked, when that poster row and clash broke out, that what was the need of putting up a Savarkar poster in a Muslim area. Meanwhile, there is another poster row that is now emerging. In Mangaluru, Suratkal, a poster was put up by Hindu Mahasabha that had not only Savarkar, but also Nathuram Godse's photo. Now, these posters are being put up in multiple locations in this area in the name of Hindu Mahasabha State President Rajesh Pavitran on the occasion of Krishna Janmashtami. Is this also not going overboard by Hindu body? But let me come back to the subject, which is, of course, Savarkar. What has been the historical charge against him and what has been the defense? Let's take a look. Now, the charge is that he was associated or involved in the assassination of Gandhi. But of course, the defense is that he was given a clean chit by courts. And the person, Nathuram Godse, who was guilty, was punished. The charge also is, and this is used often, that he sought clemency from the British and therefore he surrendered to the British. The defense also is that, see, this was a tactic to save his life. Remember, he was one of the only ones who was suffering in Andaman's jail, not really some of the other big freedom fighters. And he wanted to continue that freedom fight, and he actually did and paid a lot of price for it. Another charge is that he was communal and anti-Muslim. Now, Savarkar backers say that this is not true because he backed Hindu-Muslim unity, but as Indians first. He objected to appeasement of any religion. The charge also is that he was the originator of the two-nation theory. That the defense is, and this is obviously proven by facts, that it was Syed Ahmad Khan who initiated the theory in 1883 before Savarkar was born, that Hindus and Muslims possibly cannot live together. So the big debate that's coming up today after this Savarkar poster row, the question that we're asking is it just an ideological opposition to Savarkar, which is okay, or has it descended into hatred to the extent that actually the ones who accuse others of dividing India are dividing the Indian people? Take a look at what both sides are saying.
ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ತರುವಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಪಾತ್ರ ವಹಿಸಿದ ವೀರ್ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಗೌರವ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆದರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕಿಡಿಗೇಡಿಗಳು
सावरकर के बारे में जस्टिस कपूर कमीशन की रिपोर्ट पढ़िए. जस्टिस कपूर कमीशन की रिपोर्ट में सावरकर को गांधी की हत्या में एक मुजरिम करार दिया कि उनका इन्वॉल्वमेंट था. तो जो गांधी की हत्या में जस्टिस कपूर कमीशन इंक्वायरी कमीशन एक्ट के तहत बनाई गई थी.
Want to go across to our guest joining us. Tuhin Sinha is the BJP spokesperson. Lavanya Balal is joining us from the Congress party in Karnataka, where a lot of this row is actually taking shape and growing day after day. Professor Dinesh Vashni is from the CPI, and Professor Kapil Kumar is a historian joining me in our studios today. Let me begin by Dinesh Vashni. Dinesh Vashni, you can have disagreements with what Savarkar was and what he stood for. But why is it that there is an attempt that nobody else who may like him can hail him? This is a democratic country. One cannot object to who
Shivani,
others
whosoever
hail.
hails Savarkar is hailing the British imperialist. Whosoever hails Savarkar is hailing the
Sir, ये
communism.
virtue signal करने का ना time खत्म हो गया sir. I'm sorry to say, this virtue signaling has to stop. No, I'm sorry. This virtue signaling has to stop. You may have your belief, but you cannot dictate to others.
अरे बाबा, there are 5 mercy petitions by Savarkar. जो जेल में तेल पेलते थे, उससे उसको हटा के उसको clerical job दे दिया गया. He was given clerical job, and clerical jobs even today in the jails are given to only those who are chamchas of the authorities, or those become loyal to the authorities.
Okay, so I'm not asking you to like him.
He given a clerical job, and he was getting 60 rupees as a pension.
Sir, I am not asking you to like him. But
same time, 85 communist, Shivani, please. 85 communist prisoners were there in Andaman Nicobar jail at that time. They have not asked for any pardon. They have not asked for any clemency.
Savarkar wrote on behalf of others too. He didn't just write for himself.
2 of them even died. And you have seen that now tomorrow they will say, God say he's our hero. So this BJP and RSS is doing only to divert the national attention from the roti kapda makan.
Arey sir, you please tell me, if they had put up a Savarkar poster and nothing had been done, why did somebody had to go and remove that poster? National issue to उन्होंने बनाया ना, लगे रहने देते वीर सावरकर का पोस्टर. किसको दिक्कत हो रही है?
सावरकर का पोस्टर आप लगाई क्यों रहे हो? सावरकर was not a
तो
hero
आप
of the
थोड़ा ना
Indian
डिसाइड करोगे
freedom
सर,
struggle.
इलीगल ही है ना.
Savarkar was a zero of the Indian freedom struggle.
तो आप
It
मत
will be
लगाइए.
an insult to the world of hero itself if somebody says that
You are
Savarkar
not
was a
understanding
hero
my
of the Indian
fundamental
independence
question.
struggle.
Mr. Vashni,
He
you
was
must
not a
not,
hero of
once
India's
again, you
independence
must not
struggle.
talk ad nauseum. Sir, you are not understanding the fundamental question I'm asking. You can object to Savarkar. Nobody is denying that. But you cannot hold a gun on other people's head saying that you can't like him either. That's not how it works.
No, that
One second. Professor Kapil Kumar wants to come
I
in.
agree with you.
Shivani, I have not interrupted.
We are not supposed to do
One
that
second.
thing.
Mr. Vashni,
But I
now
would
yield
like-
the stage for somebody else. Professor Kapil Kumar, the
I
question I'm
have
discussing
not
today.
interrupted. I have not interrupted, and I'll not like to be interrupted.
But sir, मेरा question तो सुनिए.
हाँ,
My
बताइए.
question is this: that has time come where we must talk about all of our historical figures, what's and all, whatever their insufficient, work was or whatever their calls were, because that question that arises on everybody. Savarkar is not alone.
No.
Who can be questioned?
No. My first thing is, and then I'll give something. First thing is that anyone who fought for India's freedom, we should not cage those persons in ideology or in political parties. They all fought for India's freedom, whether they were in Congress, whether they were in left, whether they were in Azad Hind Fauj, whether they were revolutionaries. We have to honor and salute them all instead of doing politics on their names unnecessarily. And now I have to have a question here. Who are the Savarkar beaters? The communists, as he's saying. What were the communists doing in Second World War? The Churchill, who massacred 10 lakh people in Bengal by a man-made famine on the instructions of Russia, they were supporting Churchill in Second World War. Second thing, they are talking of Savarkar was taking pension. I can give you files and files of National Archives. How much money CPI took for their publications from the British government in that? Let them deny these facts.
Not at all.
What are they talking? You don't read. You don't see records. You only do politics. You do only do politics. Don't debate with a historian, mister. Don't debate with a historian. I'll throw you files and files of Communist Party PCOG's letters to the Viceroy. I'll throw letters after letters to
You are
them.
getting the communist
And see in my book. And what are the communists doing?
Through the British police.
To the British police,
Don't lie
you are
to that
reporting
chair.
on forward block people to be
No,
arrested during
Professor
42.
Kapil
What
Kumar,
are you
please don't
talking?
lie to
I'll
that.
show you
Please
those
show
British
the files
reports.
whether the
The
CPI
CID
got
reports
money
of the
from the
British, I'll
Britishers.
show you.
Not at
What
all,
you
not
people
at
communists
all.
are doing.
Not
You are
at all.
shameless people.
Not at all.
You
I
don't have any
completely
respect
deny
for a
your
nation.
false
You only
facts.
talk of the bourgeoisie dictatorship, of the proletariat dictatorship. Nation is never your aim. So don't try to cheat the Indian people this way by giving wrong statements. Answer me on facts.
Okay,
Tell me,
come in?
did Joshi write letters to Governor General or not? Did you take money for your publications and not from the government?
Kapil sir,
Tell me that.
can I request you?
Don't have facts, don't read documents.
One by one. One by one.
Professor
Vashni.
put into the jail.
Professor Vashni, can I just come in, please? You know, everybody can make arguments when it comes to history. We can always cherry pick and say, oh, this was good or this was bad.
Shivani ji, I talk on facts. I'm
No,
a
of course.
historian.
No, I'm not doubting your facts.
And I
I'm
give
not doubting
every
your facts.
document in my, whatever I've said, I give all the document in my
Sir,
defense.
my point is, one second. Mr. Vashni, one second. The question I'm saying is, you know, even if you look at somebody like Mahatma Gandhi, there were steps he took that others, his peers, did not like. They did not agree with him. That doesn't mean that Mahatma Gandhi's contribution was less. In our freedom struggle, people employed different ways. Once again, I'm not done, sir. I'm not done. Secondly, you know, anybody you can cherry pick facts from history to present some sort of a narrative. My question is, why use Savarkar as some sort of a tool in today's politics? And you are as guilty of it.
No, Shivani, first of all, you are giving an example with Savarkar, differences with Savarkar and differences with Gandhi is a very bad example.
No, I'm
Gandhi
not comparing
was a
the
great
two.
man because he led the common Indian masses into freedom struggle.
Sir, many freedom
the
fighters.
communists have become Gandhi praisers now.
Not like this, not like this. Sir, many freedom fighters disagreed with him too. I'm sorry. There is I'm sorry to say, I did not compare Savarkar and Gandhi. What I'm saying is that even somebody as Gandhi, who everybody hails, did have things that you could pinpoint and object to. It is as simple as that.
No.
That's true.
You please, Shivani,
yes.
You are doing an insult to Gandhiji.
No, I'm not.
When you say
and please don't try to scare me from saying what I'm saying, which is absolutely correct, by saying that I'm insulting somebody. I'm not.
You are insulting Gandhiji.
You are a professor,
Mr.
Vashni. You should be not. You should be not doing. You should not do this. That you can say and not say this.
Gandhiji was a great masses leader.
Yeah, but many criticized him too. So what?
Read the Mudri Baad on what he has to say on Gandhi, your CPM leader. Read the Mudri Baad. Read the Mudri Baad what your CPM leader said on Gandhi.
Kapil sir, not like this.
He was a British agent.
I am not saying. I'm saying exactly the opposite. That Gandhi is still great, despite the fact that there were things. Okay, I don't think, Mr. Vashni, as a professor, you're setting a very good example of what a healthy debate should be. You cannot, no, I'm sorry, you cannot shut people from talking about certain things. That is the problem with leftists, I'm sorry to say.
Veer cannot be attached to Savarkar when he was an informer to the Britishers. Shivani, please.
No, you can have, once again, you can have your objection to Savarkar. I don't have a problem with that, sir. I am not asking you to love Savarkar. But please don't stop me from saying what I am saying either.
I am not loving Savarkar.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. I asked you a question. Why are you so afraid and nervous if somebody else wants to hail him? What's your problem?
No. We are not nervous. People of India has given the answer to them during the freedom struggle. The people of India will give them the answer now, even in Karnataka.
People of India have given you answer also where your party stand in politics today.
And
people have given you also an answer in Bengal and in other places in the country where your political party stand.
Okay, now both of you.
And you people side with China today. You are Chinese agents.
Please, both of you disengage. Tohin Sinha and Lavanya, please. Lavanya, let me come to you first up. I'm not understanding what does the Congress party have to gain by making, this whole flashpoint between Savarkar and Tipu Sultan. Frankly, those are also apples and oranges. You cannot compare one with the other and keep one above the other. And the Congress party that hails Tipu Sultan is the last one to lecture anybody on what our icons should be.
Shivani, good evening. Could you clarify something about Tipu Sultan for me? What did you mean by that comment? I'm sorry, I'm not able to understand.
My comment is that we can have better Muslim icons in India. Why is Tipu Sultan so dear to the Congress party that you celebrated him beyond measure when you were in power? Are there no better icons?
First of all, Shivani, I don't know what you mean by better Muslim icons. Second, it was the BJP which started the Tipu Sultan Jayanti. Mr. Yediyurappa ji and Mr. Jagadish Shettar have celebrated Tipu Jayanti. So it is not just Congress which is celebrating Tipu Jayanti. And when you're talking to other guests, I was listening to it. You were talking about Mr. Godse, about Mr. Savarkar. Now the question is, hypothetically, Shivani, this is what I would like to ask you. Do you think revering Hitler is the right thing to do? If it is not,
Are you
then a
serious?
person.
Please don't drop Hitler
me
as an
finish.
argument for everything. This is a very old
Let me
tactic. I am
finish.
not falling for
Shivani,
this.
Shivani, you as an anchor.
You know, this
let
is an
me
easy
speak.
thing. Just
You need to
drop
let me
Hitler's
speak,
name
Shivani. If
into
you're
everything
going to
and make
interrupt.
everybody back
Shivani,
off.
I'm not here for a swinging match. I'm not here for a
No,
shouting
I'm
match.
sorry.
If
I'm
you
not going
want
to
me
fall for
complete,
these tactics.
This is what they do when
I
they
am
don't
going to
answer
complete
I'm
my
discussing
sentence. I didn't
Savarkar. Please
interrupt when
talk
you're
on Savarkar. Don't bring Hitler into
Let
it.
me complete. Then let me complete, Shivani. You need to let me finish and let me complete. You need to have the patience to let the guest complete, Shivani,
Talk on
without
the
interrupting.
subject, Lavanya.
I am talking. So when you say Mr. Savarkar should be revered,
I
tell
didn't
me
say that.
something.
No, I'm
Should
sorry.
he
I
be-
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You were. What did you say then?
I'm
What did
saying
you
that
say?
if
Please
somebody
clarify.
wants to hail Savarkar, they have the democratic
For
right to
what
do
reason-
so.
For what reason do you think they should hail him? Is
No,
it
it's their
because
right.
the ideology
very
killed
It's
Mr.
their
Gandhi?
right. Lavanya, it's their right.
Is it because
Are you going to tell people what they're going to like or not like?
So you are saying somebody who is responsible for the death of the founding father of this nation
He's not.
is supposed
Factually
to be
incorrect.
revered? Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure about the Kapoor report?
Factually incorrect.
So his ideology that
What
he
is the
Now you
wrong
come
with
to
propagated
ideology.
was not
What is wrong with
responsible.
ideology? He's talking of
This
United
is
not
just
India.
responsible
this is
for
just
the
going
killing of
around in
Mr. Gandhi.
circles.
Talking of both United India.
Well, can I come in?
No,
Toin
he is the
Sinha
first
wants to come in.
person.
Toin
He is
Sinha
the
wants to
first
come in.
person who propagated the idea of two-state nations.
I just explained to you, madam. Syed Ahmad Khan is the first one who put pen to paper talking about Hindus and Muslims not being able
you
to
need
live
to get your
together.
facts right,
No,
No,
Shivani.
you need to get
It
your
was in the
facts
Hindu
right.
Nowhere Syed Ahmad
Rajgopalachari
Khan
was the
says
first
that India is a
Protector
two
Party.
nation,
Yeah.
Hindu or Muslim. Nowhere.
Rajgopalachari was the
Nowhere,
first
Shivani,
Protector
sorry.
Party.
Okay, Tohin hasn't spoken. I'll give everybody else a chance. Let Tohin come in.
In a letter dated 20th May 1980, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had very clearly stated that Veer Savarkar's daring defiance of the Britishers holds a very important place in the annals of our freedom movement. Now, 42 years later, the same Congress party's descendants, Rahul Gandhi, a loser himself, calls him...
No. Don't use that language, Tohin Sinha.
No.
Not done.
No. What is wrong with the loser?
No. Come on, we can be more gracious.
You can't dictate language, please.
We can be more gracious.
Now you're exceeding your mandate. I am aware of my language. I have never used foul language, so please don't, just intrude on everything. When I speak, please, calmly hear it.
No, I'm sorry. This is my show. I will object to your language if I find it is problematic. He's a public figure. You can use better language. You will not like it if somebody uses against. No, you will not like it if somebody uses this language against you, your leaders. Please, Tohin.
No, but then there is a problem with your understanding. I have never been censured for my language. I'm very conscious of the language I use. So anyway, whatever you want to call him, 42 years down the line, it is the same Rahul Gandhi, a descendant of Indira Gandhi's family, who has a different version to it. So who do you believe? Do you believe Indira Gandhi or do you believe Rahul Gandhi? Now the point is, in 1901, Veer Savarkar was the first person who opposed, a Shok Sabha for the death of the then British Queen. In 1905, he was the first person to consign to fire the British clothes, which Mahatma Gandhi eventually did in 1921. In 1910, when he first filed a mercy petition, that was very clearly a strategic move. He did not want to spend his time in jail in redundance like the communists spend in Indian politics without anything to do. He wanted to come out and
Come on.
contribute.
85% of the names written on the Andaman Nicobar jails are communist prisoners. Not a single one of them has asked for clemency from the Britishers to Sinha. It is your so-called Veer, who was a Kayar Savarkar, who asked for clemency more than 5 times. Don't lie the facts here. This is the RSS habit and supporters of the RSS habit to falsify the historical facts. You go and read the names on the Andaman Nicobar jail walls.
Let me
Tell
also.
me who were they? The communists from Bengal.
It is very funny that a communist should be giving certificates on who's
Come on, tell me any freedom fighter of you who would have died in the Andaman Nicobar jails. or any
Point.
freedom fighter from your side, or BJP or
Point.
Hindu
Your
Mahasabha.
icon, let me also enlighten you about your icon.
Not the informers of the Britishers.
What does
Okay,
he
one
say?
by
Any
one.
name.
I want to
They
hear
were
both
named
of
it.
you. Let's go
Don't
one by
tell
one.
us.
Dr.
Don't
Vashni,
tell
I'm
us.
coming to you.
Queen Sinha, but
Dr.
you are lying
Vashni,
the facts.
Professor
You are
Vashni,
lying the
I will
facts
come
will
to
not
you.
help
Please
the
wait.
history. Will
Professor
not be able to
Vashni,
change the
Professor
history.
Vashni, I'll
Will
come
not
to
be
you.
able to
Please
change
wait.
the perception
Let's
of
just
the
allow
people of
Tohin to
India
finish.
about
Tohin and me,
RSS
please,
and
30
Veer
Coming
seconds.
to
Savarkar,
the
that
Congress
they were
icon
agent of the
Tipu
Britishers,
Sultan,
and
the
everybody
inscription
know
on the sword of Tipu Sultan is self-explanatory. What does it read? My victorious saber is lightning for the destruction of the unbelievers. O Lord, make him victorious who promoted the faith of Muhammad, confound him who refuses the faith of Muhammad. So the inscription on his sword is filled with hatred for non-believers. Do I need to specify who are the non-believers? This is a letter which he has. This is an extract of Tipu's letter to Sayyid Abdul Dulai, dated January 18, 1790, when he's talking of one of his expeditions. What does he write?
Okay.
With the grace of Prophet Muhammad and Allah, almost all Hindus in Calicut are converted to Islam. So these, primary sources of evidence and history explain
So
what
you're
Tipu
making my point. Let me give Lavanya one more opportunity before I go back to our other guests. You know, Lavanya, that's exactly the point. You look at any historical figure, you can always find good things and bad things. And Tipu certainly has a very, terrible record as far as, Hindus in the area are concerned. You're coming from Karnataka, I'm sure you will be aware of that. Yes, he did some good things. Yes, he fought the British. But that doesn't mean that his sins against Hindus get washed off. He fought the British because the British were a challenge to him. Right? So if you can hail Tipu, which is okay, which is your choice, why can't somebody else also hail Savarkar for what he did? Have some tolerance, no?
Let me make it
I'll
very clear for you once again, Shivani. Tipu Sultan Jayanti was celebrated by the BJP leaders.
Okay,
It
but
was
why did you do
celebrated by
it?
Mr. BSY. It was celebrated by Mr. Shitter. I don't know why they have a problem now with celebrating
But
Tipu
why are you
Sultan
doing it?
Jayanti.
You are opposed to
Let
the
me
BJP,
complete,
right? You don't
Shivani.
do
You need to
everything
have-
what BJP does.
Shivani, you need to have patience.
No, but madam,
Let me
why
please
did you
finish.
celebrate
Let me
Tipu
please finish my
Jayanti if you
sentence.
don't agree with
either,
it?
Okay, either this is a debate or it is something shouting match that you're screaming over my voice.
I'm asking you a question. Don't get so defensive.
You're not letting me talk.
Why did you celebrate Tipu Jayanti?
We will celebrate all Jayantis. We will celebrate Kanaka Jayanti also. We will celebrate every Jayanti, Valmiki Jayanti also. We will celebrate all the festivals possible in Karnataka. The entire controversy that is happening right now in Karnataka with the Savarkar and the Tipu Sultan is a creation of the BJP to divert the attention from the failed administration in the state of Karnataka. That is all.
Okay.
It is a failed administration.
I think you
of
should
BJP,
raise that
and this
question,
is
and
distraction.
I buy your argument that this is, of course, not something that should be what governments should be judged on, certainly. But Professor Kapil, I'm coming to you. Their objection should be raised to those who actually brought down Savarkar's flex or poster and created this fracas. In fact, in the aftermath, there were clashes. One man was even stabbed for, as police suggest, for just being Hindu, because he was wearing a tilak and he could be identified as a Hindu, so he was stabbed virtually to death. Now, that's what I'm saying. This viciousness that surrounds Savarkar debate, why do you think that is? Why is he so, why does he make some so uncomfortable in India?
You see, firstly about Tipu Sultan, people forget one thing. He fought the British, no doubt, fought very bravely at Sringapatnam. I have no objection to that. But whom he was supporting? The French. Whose support he was taking? The French. And there was a fight going on between the French and the British to dominate India. So if you are helping the French to dominate India, how can you say you are a freedom fighter and all?
I get it, but let's not get into that.
Now, second, let me come to you. Savarkar is one leader. You know, people used to commit suicide in Andaman jails. And I have this question to ask. Name me a Congress leader in history. Nehruji went 13 times to jail. In which jail he had to do the chakki? In which jail he had to do the kolu? In which jail he was hanged upside down? In which jail he was whipped? And they talk of Savarkar's apology. They have not read the letter written by Motilal Nehru when Jawaharlal Nehru was arrested in Nabha to the Viceroy. They have not seen Nehru when arrested in 46 by Hari Singh in Kashmir. How the Viceroy got him released.
So that's what I'm saying.
I talk on historical facts. And that is why they don't have, you see, today only I have done a tweet. CIA record declassified, which is talking of how much influence Edwina Lady Mountbatten had on Nehru, and has given 1, 2, 3, 4 items in that, and that is spoiling US relations. Let them talk it.
No, so okay, let's come back to the subject. Do you think that this whole narrative around Savarkar is finally breaking, and is that why this clash is becoming even worse now?
I'll tell you what is happening. What is happening is that the historical facts and distortions which were made and the facts which were suppressed for last so many years, now those files are coming out. Now those facts are coming out. Look at my own book, what I have done. I have shown relations between Netaji and Savarkar, how they were both recruiting for the British Army because they should cross over to the INA. I have given letters of INA soldiers who say that we joined the British Indian Army at Savarkar's instructions, and as per his directive, when the opportunity came, we shifted over to INA.
Yeah.
And now when the history is speaking loud, the facts are speaking loud, these distorters of history who suppressed Indian history from the youth in this country, now they are upset, so they will go on abusing.
Okay, Dr. Vashni, is that the case?
Public wife of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose clearly says that Savarkar was working for the Britishers. He's quoting a selective fact. He's not quoting the entire facts of the 75,000 pages released by Modi ji. Where the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose clearly says that the Savarkar was working as a British agent. Please
read Netaji Bose. Don't read your boxes. Read Netaji Bose. You have not read ABC of him.
Sir, not like this. Sir, not like this.
False distortions I will not
Sir, let him
accept.
speak. He didn't interrupt when
Let
you
them
were
talk on
speaking.
history.
That
They
RSS
can't
wanted
distort
to
more
divide
like
the
this.
nation.
Okay, that can be objected in a better way. Okay, Professor Vashni alone, please.
So even no, Kapil Kumar ji, you are doing a wrong thing.
I am doing a wrong thing. You are communists are wrong.
You are distorting a fact.
We nationalists are wrong. You communists taking instructions from
China.
We are wrong, the Indian nationalists.
Okay, sir, one second, control yourself.
You have not gone all
Can
the
I have Mr.
75,000.
Vashni?
You are, what are you?
Can I
What
have
the hell
Mr.
are
Vashni
you?
alone, please?
You are no.
What
I'm
are
also
you?
a historian.
What are
Don't
you?
tell me.
Tell me what
I'm
are
also
you?
a teacher of history.
What are
Don't
you?
tell me.
Kapil sir, I will not be able to do it like this. You have to control
You
yourself.
control him also, what he's
Sir,
saying.
it is his turn.
No,
Let
but
him
you
speak.
can't
But
lie.
he can't abuse
Shivani,
me
he
like
cannot
this,
run the
sir.
lie.
He can't get away with
cannot run the
it.
lie on the
Kapil sir,
national
not like
television,
this.
CNN.
No.
Yes,
sorry. Can't run
Dinesh
the lie.
Vashni, yes, please finish. I'll give you 30 seconds.
Look, Shivani.
You must become a little bit more open to different icons who you may not like, but you cannot object to them in a manner where you condemn people as fascists, condemn people as, I don't know, terrorists or sympathizers of Hitler. I mean, this is not done.
It's a fact. I am not saying that whatever I am saying fact. What Professor Kapil Kumar says, he was just quoting a selective fact.
Please,
He's
sir,
not
please
quoting
don't
all
like
the
this.
Bring my name, you will get it.
75,000 pages
You will get it.
released on
Say your own
Subhash
thing, what you
Chandra
want
Bose
to
by
say.
Modi ji. They were never
Don't try
saying
to
Subhash
prove me
Chandra
wrong.
Bose was not fact. Now they are quiet.
Have you consulted
Now
any
people
file?
come.
Have you
Because
seen any
Subhash Chandra
records?
Bose more than 20
Don't talk to a
times
historian
has
like
called
this.
it the RSS
Kapil
leader.
sir, let
Even
him have his
Savarkar,
So he will
even
bring my
Sir,
name.
you
I will
have
get it.
also objected.
Tell him also that.
You have
Sir, you
not
have
gone
also
through all
objected.
these
I have not
things.
named him.
Only
Sir,
one
can I
historian has
please
gone
just
all
have
these
some
75,000
quiet?
pages.
Please.
Professor
Okay.
Kulkumar,
Tohin
you
Sena,
are
please.
You,
Final
Mr.
words.
Gupta, you know nothing of history.
Tohin
By
Sena,
RSS.
please.
You destroyed that was your communist propaganda. Don't teach me history. Don't teach me history.
You are making an
Tohin
You
Sena,
don't teach me history. Go and do slavery of
Tohin
China.
Sena, are you also using Savarkar as some sort of a tool to further what some would say a dangerous ideology that wants to take India back from, let's say, the path of secularism, the BJP?
Not at all, Shivani. We just want that the unnecessary demonization of Savarkar needs to end. Facts which have been suppressed for the last many decades need to come to the fore, and you will realize when you go through the facts that Savarkar was one of the bravest. As I mentioned, was also acknowledged by former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Now, I will just appeal to both Professor Vashni and some of the Congress leaders to travel to Kurg and to meet some of the descendants of those families who were massacred by Tipu Sultan in 1783-84, and they will realize who they are trying to pit against Veer Savarkar. Veer Savarkar was Veer, will continue to be Veer, and despite whatever demonization these people carry on, they will end up with eggs on their face.
Okay, I have to leave it at that. I do thank all of you for joining us.